the teasers dropped.
Oh, yeah.
And the fandom just went completely silent. In an instant, the entire K-pop and K-drama world was turned upside down. Like, was this the grand finale we deserved, or just a total betrayal of the source material? Welcome to StarScope K-Report. Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
And we are wading into some incredibly turbulent waters right now. I mean, if you have been anywhere near Stan, Twitter, Reddit, or, domestic Korean entertainment forums lately, you already know.
Always a mess.
A total meltdown. The timeline is in absolute chaos right now.
Which is exactly why we are launching a massive deep dive into the source material behind this headline that has been, well, completely dominating the conversation. The headline is, Why Everyone is Canceling Sweet Home 3, the ending was leaked.
Literally everyone is talking about it.
Right. So Netflix dropped this highly anticipated final season on July 19th. And to understand exactly how we got to this point of, massive fandom rebellion, we are pulling from a huge stack of sources today.
We really had to dig through everything for this one.
Yeah, we have the official Netflix press releases, deep dive lore analyses from Screen Rant detailing the webtoon deviations, the Times of India reviews and press conference coverage, and some really intense monster rankings from Digital Mafia talkies.
It is just a staggering amount of lore to unpack because, the Hallyu wave doesn't just ripple, it crashes. And this comeback, oh man, it crashed hard.
It really did.
But that emotional volatility we are seeing online, it didn't just come out of nowhere. We have to look at the psychological state of the fandom right before the premiere.
Yeah, to understand why the backlash was so fierce.
Exactly.
So let's set that stage.
Yeah.
Because the official press conference, which took place on July 17th in Jongno-gu, Seoul, was basically a masterclass in bittersweet PR.
Bittersweet is the perfect word for it.
Right. According to the Times of India, the roster of attendees was just a powerhouse. You had Lee Eun-hyeok, Lee Si-young, Go Min-si.
Incredible actors.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Plus Jin-young, Yoo Oh-sung, Yoo Jung-si, Kim Woo-yeol, Kim Si-ya, and, director Lee Eun-bak all lined up.
It's a massive ensemble.
It is.
Yeah.
But despite that undeniable star power on the stage, the reality was that the absolute core of the show was missing.
Right. It was a heartbreakingly huge elephant in the room.
The main visuals and leads, Song Kang, who plays our tragic hero Hyun-su, and Lee Do-hyun, who plays the, brilliantly calculating Lee Eun-hyeok.
They were completely absent.
Yeah, because they are currently on their mandatory military service hiatus. They both enlisted as active duty soldiers back in April, so they physically could not be there to promote the grand finale of their own show.
And I mean, if you are embedded in Korean entertainment culture, you know the military hiatus is a universally painful era for any stan.
Oh, absolutely.
It completely halts the momentum. You are just counting down the days on a military app, waiting for your bias to return to the screen.
Just refreshing the countdown.
Exactly. So going into this press conference, the fandom was already incredibly fragile. And then, out of nowhere, the organizers played a surprise video message from Song Kang.
Oh, wow.
The collective meltdown was instantaneous. He was on screen expressing disbelief that they had already reached season 3, thanking fans for staying with them. It was just a flood of pure emotion.
But okay, let me play devil's advocate for a second here.
Okay, go ahead.
Isn't a pre-recorded video message just like standard industry protocol? I mean, from a PR perspective, they just want to make sure the face of the franchise makes an appearance to drive engagement. It's basically a marketing box to check, right?
I mean, from a corporate standpoint, sure. But in Hallyu fan culture, it is a lifeline.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's not just marketing, it's an emotional anchor. Fans invest years into these actors' journeys. So seeing him pop up on that screen, wearing his uniform, talking about a show he filmed months ago, it carries immense weight.
Yeah, it is different.
It completely overwhelmed the room. Lee Eun-hyeok actually had to step in and save the vibe.
Wait, what did he do?
He looked at the screen and joked, "This isn't an AI synthesis, right?"
Oh, that's hilarious.
It got a huge laugh and broke the tension beautifully.
Which is a great save. Like, you need that levity. But imagine you are a fan, right? Getting that video is like getting a sweet postcard from a ghost.
Oh, that is so accurate.
It's meant to comfort you, but it just makes you miss them 100 times more.
But while the press con was all tears of joy, what Kanets discovered about the actual plot sent the fandom into an absolute tailspin. And that's not even the wildest part of this comeback.
Because that emotional vulnerability from the military hiatus is exactly why the fan base felt so betrayed when they actually saw the season. It wasn't just a lackluster adaptation.
No, to many, it felt like a broken promise.
It really did. So let's look at the lore. According to the analysis from Screen Rant, the show drastically abandoned Kim Carnby and Swang Young-chan's original webtoon.
And that is a huge problem because the webtoon is sacred text to K-nets.
Right. In the original story, the horror relied heavily on the sheer mystery of the monsters. You didn't know why this was happening. But Netflix brought in the military to over-explain everything.
They really spelled it all out.
Yeah. By revealing the mechanics of monsterization so early and making it a massive government conspiracy, they completely ruined the suffocating suspense that made the webtoon a masterpiece in the first place.
Okay, but hold on. Isn't that structural shift entirely necessary for a television adaptation?
How so?
Well, the webtoon's horror relied on internal monologues and a very contained environment. When you're dealing with a global Netflix budget and a multi-season arc, you can't just have a guy sitting in an apartment fighting his inner demons for 30 hours of television.
I mean, true.
You need external stakes. Didn't they have to add the military to give the characters an actual, tangible enemy to fight?
I see your point about externalizing the threat, but they sacrificed the genre in the process.
You think so? Totally. It's like buying tickets to a terrifying psychological escape room, and when you get there, they just hand you a paintball gun and drop you in a war zone.
Okay, that is a great analogy.
Right. The genre fundamentally changed from psychological horror to a generic sci-fi action movie. And in doing so, they stripped away the humanity.
And according to the source material, the humor was a major casualty of that shift, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Screen Rant points out that in the webtoon, Hyun-su and Eun-hyeok actually bond over a fictional anime called Maria from the Sky.
Yes, I love that detail.
They had plans to see the movie premiere before the apocalypse hit. It grounded them. It reminded the reader that, under all this trauma, they were just regular teenagers.
Exactly. We lost those incredibly humanizing, lighthearted moments. The show made everyone, especially Eun-hyeok, so incredibly stoic.
Yeah, he was basically a robot.
And the romance, or rather the total erasure of it, infuriated the shippers. In the webtoon, Hyun-su and Eun-hyeok were romantically linked.
Right, she was the bass player.
Yeah, her music, her bass playing, was his literal anchor to his humanity when his inner monster tried to take over. When the show killed her off so early, it completely crushed any hope for a webtoon-accurate ending.
It effectively rewrote the entire emotional core of the story. I mean, characters like Sang-wook and Yuri actually survived and fell in love in the original comic.
Which was such a beautiful storyline.
But Netflix killed them off early on. Instead, they added completely original characters like Seo Yu, the former firefighter played by Lee Eun-yu.
Right.
And they did that specifically to push that new government-military plotline forward. And while Lee Eun-yu is phenomenal.
Oh, she is amazing.
Yeah, Kenneth just felt like the show was forcing a narrative that didn't belong in the Sweet Home universe.
It looked cinematic, but the soul of the story was missing. And compounding those lore changes were some catastrophic structural issues.
The plot holes.
Yes, the Times of India review brutally highlighted some massive unresolved plot holes that had viewers threatening to hit the cancel button on their subscriptions.
Let's examine those plot holes, because they aren't just minor continuity errors. They are massive narrative dead ends.
So frustrating.
First, there's Dr. Lim. He spends all this time doing these incredibly creepy monster experiments, and he extracts this mysterious vial from Do-hyun. That visually stunning monster with 100 arms.
The design was sick, by the way.
So cool. But the show acts like this vial is the key to humanity's survival. Sergeant Taken Hwan even claims it's Sang-wook's blood. The dramatic tension is built entirely around this object.
Right, it's a huge deal.
And then, nothing. The vial turns out to be completely irrelevant to the finale. It's a Chekhov's gun that is just left sitting on the table.
And that kind of writing just breaks the unspoken contract with the audience. You can't just set that up and abandon it. But, oh my gosh, it gets so much worse.
What about Chief Jay's son?
Yes.
The cocoon.
He turned into this twisted, terrifying cocoon hanging from the ceiling that literally attracted Neohumans. The show spent significant screen time building him up as a crucial endgame threat. Tak In-hwan swore to eliminate him. Chief Ji was so obsessed with hiding him that the psychological toll nearly destroyed her.
And then what happens?
The cocoon just vanishes from the storyline.
No way.
Literally no battle, no resolution. He's just gone.
From an analytical standpoint, it really points to a production that simply bit off more than it can chew. They introduced so many sprawling original threads to diverge from the webtoon, but couldn't mathematically tie them all back together in the allotted runtime.
Exactly.
It's like baking a massive, beautiful three-tier comeback cake for the fans, but completely forgetting to put sugar in the batter.
That is painfully accurate, which is incredibly frustrating for an audience that invests hours into analyzing these details. If you love staying updated on your favorites, make sure you're subscribed to StarScope K Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead.
Definitely subscribe, because honestly, the structural issues were merely the appetizer.
Oh, for sure.
What actually broke the internet, what caused an absolute uproar across global fandoms, was the leaked ending and the final monster showdowns.
The visual effects team definitely threw everything they had at the screen for this finale.
They really did. Despite the narrative criticisms, the actual monster designs in the final battles had netizens frantically debating the mechanics of the lore and, the ultimate fates of their favorite characters.
The reviews from Digital Mafia talkies go deep into this. The monster lore in Season 3 is wildly inventive.
It's so unique.
And what makes it so brilliant is that the monsterization process is tied to a person's deepest internal desire.
Right, it's psychological.
Exactly. Take Master Sergeant Takin Wan. He has been fighting the infection for so long, trying to keep his humanity. When his monster side finally tries to take over to detonate a bomb and kill everyone, his deep-seated psychological desire to protect his people actually overrides the violent impulse.
Wow.
He turns into this heroic, solid wall of ice, saving the survivors. It's visually stunning and tragic, but it makes perfect thematic sense.
And then, on the complete opposite end of the thematic spectrum, you have Hyun-su.
Oh my gosh, Hyun-su.
The young kid, essentially the Mac Knight of the survivor group, who just wanted to be a monster so he could finally stand up to his bullies.
Right.
But the cruel irony of the lore is that his desire to hide and escape turns him into, well, a puddle of green slime.
A puddle. The Digital Mafia talkies reviewer actually compared him to Flubber.
Flubber. It is harsh.
He is arguably the most useless monster in the franchise, but remarkably, by the end of the season, he manages to turn back into a human.
And that miraculous reversion is all thanks to Hyun-su, which perfectly sets up the ultimate climax of the entire series.
We finally get the showdown the fandom had been manifesting for years.
Yes. Cha Shin-soo, who has now fully mastered his monster side and sport this incredible detachable stone feather wing, teams up with Lee Eun-hyeok.
And Eun-hyeok's evolution is fascinating. He was reborn from a cocoon as a Neohuman.
Right. Let's define what that actually means in the context of the show's lore, because Neohumans are a massive departure from the standard monsters.
Oh, completely different.
According to the established rules in Season 3, a Neohuman is hyper-intelligent, immortal, incredibly fast, and completely stripped of human emotions. They are essentially the next step in evolution, like a perfect, unbothered apex predator.
Right. They don't feel fear or love, which makes Eun-hyeok incredibly dangerous, but also the perfect tactical ally.
Exactly.
The two of them face off against the ultimate big bad Nam Sang-won, who has been possessing the body of Peon Sang-wook since the end of Season 1.
Such a long setup.
Yeah. And Sang-won's ability to body hop makes him nearly invincible. Eun-hyeok's logical, emotionless plan is to literally let Sang-won possess his immortal neo-human body and then throw himself into a blazing fire to trap the entity forever.
It's a mathematically perfect sacrifice.
Right.
But that's not how it ends. The twist that had everyone screaming at their screens doesn't rely on Hyun-su's powers or Eun-hyeok's neo-human logic.
No, it relies on sheer human willpower.
Yeah.
Deep inside that possessed body, the original consciousness of Peon Sang-wook, the gruff, fiercely loyal detective we loved from Season 1, miraculously wakes up.
It gave me chills.
Even after being suppressed for 2 entire seasons, his desire to protect his found family overrides the possession. Just for a few crucial seconds, he regains control of his own body and throws himself into the fire, destroying Sang-won and sacrificing himself.
It was a devastating, beautiful conclusion for his character.
It was undeniably a cinematic triumph.
It really was. But of course, immediately following that climax, the fandom discourse turned into a full-blown forensic investigation regarding another character.
Oh, here we go. The leak.
Let's talk about the massive controversy surrounding Seo Yu. She's the child born to Seo Yu, and her powers break all the established rules.
She is so overpowered.
Seriously. She accelerates in A's whenever she is mortally wounded, and she possesses the terrifying ability to turn humans into monsters with a single touch.
She is a walking apocalypse. And during that final chaotic battle, she gets severely injured by Sang-won.
Right.
Now, if you read the official reviews from major outlets like the Mary Sue and Screen Rant, they reported that her story ended in tragedy, that she succumbed to her wounds and died right there in Hyun-su's arms.
The official press narrative declared her dead, but the fandom completely rejected that narrative.
You can never, ever underestimate the investigative power of K-Nets.
Never.
The comment section on that Screen Rant article turned into an absolute detective agency. Fans were taking screenshots, adjusting the brightness, analyzing frames.
CSI level stuff.
Exactly. And eagle-eyed viewers noticed a blink-and-you-miss-it background shot during the show's final montage. It shows Young-soo, the kid who used to be Slime, standing on a rooftop with a grown woman.
Okay.
And if you zoom in on her arm, she has the exact signature black line that only Yoo-soo had.
So mechanically speaking, the fandom consensus is that her unique biological defense system triggered.
Yes. The fandom ruled that the official reviews were wrong. She didn't die in Hyun-su's arms. Wow.
Her mortal wound simply forced her body's defense mechanism to activate, rapidly aging her into an adult to survive the catastrophic trauma. She survived.
That is insane.
It completely changes the emotional weight of the finale from a tragedy to a story of impossible resilience.
It really highlights how a 2-second background detail can completely rewrite a show's legacy when you have a fandom dedicated enough to spot it.
Truly.
And this kind of intense viewer engagement is exactly what makes the Korean entertainment industry so dynamic. Later in this deep dive into the source material, we'll talk about the shocking reality of Season 4 and why the Green Home Survivor story has a twist nobody saw coming.
Which naturally brings us to the final verdict. We have this massive, sprawling universe. We have Neohumans secretly walking the Earth. We have background characters aging up and hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, so much going on.
It achieved an all-kill in streaming viewership across multiple regions despite the backlash. So why is Netflix pulling the plug? Why is the fandom mourning the absolute end of an era? It ultimately comes down to the stark business of streaming economics and, a rigidly pre-planned narrative arc.
Right.
According to the reporting from Screen Rant, despite the desperate rumors and trending hashtags swirling on social media begging for more, Season 4 was officially canceled.
So sad.
Or, to be more precise, it was never on the table to begin with. Netflix apparently mapped out this exact 3-season arc way back in 2021 when they made the unprecedented move to greenlight Seasons 2 and 3 simultaneously.
It was always designed from the ground up to be a trilogy. And honestly, considering how many shows get canceled after one season, it is a miracle we got this much lore explored on screen.
That's a very fair point.
As we mentioned earlier, the original webtoon ended beautifully, but incredibly abruptly. In the comic, Green Home is completely destroyed, and Hyun-su actually sacrifices his own life, turning into a giant monster to save everyone else. It's a tragic, definitively closed loop.
But the K-drama adaptation chose a very different philosophical path for its finale. Instead of absolute tragedy and sacrifice, it aimed for a tone of rebuilding, adaptation, and coexistence.
And that final sweeping cinematic scene is going to be burned into my brain forever.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Picture it. After all the blood, the betrayal, and the agonizing monsterization, the dust settles. We get the remaining Green Home trio reunited on a rooftop against a clear sky. It's Hyun-su, Eun-hyeok, and Eun-yu.
Yeah.
And the costume styling is so intentional here. Their clothes, their haircuts, they look almost exactly like they did back in Season 1 before the world ended. It's this gorgeous visual poetry signaling a return to home.
But importantly, they aren't the same. The world has fundamentally changed them. Eun-hyeok is a Neohuman.
Right.
And Eun-yu, after being missing for the main climax while undergoing her own painful transformation, is finally revealed to have fully transformed into a Neohuman as well.
Right. They're supposedly the emotionless apex predators now. But there is this beautiful, subtle glimmer of hope that changes everything we thought we knew about the lore of this universe. Eun-yu, despite being a blank slate Neohuman, is seen walking across the edge of the roof like a practicing ballerina.
Yeah.
She is doing the exact steps she used to obsess over when she was human. And Eun-hyeok, who has been completely stoic and logical since his rebirth, is slowly showing undeniable signs of humanity. He looks at them, and he actually smiles.
Which carries massive implications. It strongly hints that the Neohuman state isn't a permanent erasure of the soul. With enough time, they can regain their original memories, their habits, and their feelings.
It's a bittersweet, but ultimately deeply hopeful ending. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update on the shows and idols you love.
Yes, definitely will subscribe.
It really makes you sit back and process the sheer scale of the journey. We went from a rundown, claustrophobic apartment building to the literal evolution of a new, dominant species on Earth.
It does. And it leaves us with a final, provocative thought that the mainstream reviews didn't fully explore. Think about it. If near-humans are immortal, if they're hyper-intelligent, and if they're fully capable of eventually regaining their human emotions and memories, did humanity actually win the war against the monsters? Or did we just get forcibly upgraded?
Oh, wow.
Is monsterization not a tragic apocalypse at all, but actually just the universe hitting the refresh button on humanity?
That is mind-blowing.
You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.